It is not who you are that's holding you back. It is the illusions of who you think you're not. This is Anders Hansen, and I'm here to help you shatter those illusions and live the life of your dreams.
Hi there, I'm Anders Hansen, and I help people overcome their self-limiting illusions so they can step out and create quantum leaps in their lives. And today we're talking about the law of non-resistance and what that really will do for you. You see, applying this concept today and the 5 concepts that we're going to be covering as part of the law of non-resistance will enable you to start allowing more into your life. So the question is, what do you want more of? And again, apply these 5 concepts and everything will start to shift. So the reason why I decided to do this training today is because of everything that's going on in the world. You know, we had a very tumultuous 2020. There's so many things. And here in the US, we have a rather big event coming up next week, and people seem to need this material now more than ever because they're not allowing prosperity into their life. They're not allowing a lot of things into their life because they're resisting whatever is going on. So, you know, and this is not on a conscious level. I think it's really important to understand we're not resisting our own progress on a conscious level. None of us are doing that. This is all subjective. This is all on a subjective level that we are resisting and really putting these roadblocks in place that do not need to be there. So to resist and to blame, like my mentor Bob Proctor says, is to drink poison and hope that the other person dies. It's not a very good thing to do. So the concept here is really out of Raymond Holliwell's work around working with the law. And I just studied Joseph Murphy this morning in The Power of Your Subconscious, so that's just on the forefront. But this is Raymond Holliwell and his work around the laws. And you know, when we look at, we don't have to look very far. Look around, let's look at nature, let's look to water as an example of what non-resistance will do. You know, we used to live out west, and there's beautiful canyons, and they were all carved out by water. And the fact that water is non-resistant, it doesn't put up objections, it just moves around the obstacle. Water is a really good thing to look at when it comes to this concept, because it can carve out some of the most beautiful places on earth with persistence and non-resistance. Now there's a balance to the two, and we're going to get into that. So, you know, Mother Teresa said it beautifully. She said, if there's a rally against war, I'm not coming, but if you hold a rally for peace, I'll be there. So what is she saying? She's saying, give energy to that which you want and stop resisting what you don't want. I don't want the virus, I don't want that candidate, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want, and the more you resist, the more it grows in your consciousness. And like Bob said, back to what he said, you know, it's like drinking poison, hoping that something happens for the other person. And we're doing it to ourselves, really, in most cases. So let's look to water. Raymond Holliwell points out that if we go through life fighting, opposing, resisting, arguing, we're bound to meet with many obstacles and likely become so occupied fighting them that we lose sight of our real objective. Whereas if we make little of the obstacle and keep our minds on the objective or the desire we set out to gain, we may have to wind around and around, but if we persevere, we will ultimately win. We will reach the goal. So persistence comes in here, but you can be persistent and non-reactive at the same time. We could go deeper into the whole concept of touching lightly today, but we're not going to do that. We're going to stay on course for what we do want today, which is covering the law of non-resistance. You know, there were people back in the Great Depression that did not resist the depression. There were more millionaires made back then than at any point else in time. Why? They were working for that which they wanted, not against what they didn't want. Same with what's happening in the world right now. There are people succeeding and there are people losing. And I guarantee you, 9 out of the 10 people that are losing are resisting what is. They're resisting what is. It's neither good or bad, it just is. It's our emotional assignment to it that makes it what it is. So what are some of the areas in your life right now. Stop up and look at your life. And what are some of the areas that that you could benefit from applying this concept then? Where would you love growth? Because I guarantee you, the areas you're not experiencing growth in, there is resistance there. There is a flow of energy to and through us. It flows freely unless we put a kink in the hose. And we put a kink in the hose by resisting. So just try and bring this back to your own life. So let's stop resisting and start focusing on what we do want to create. We want to start refusing to argue. There is no right or wrong. We want to understand that everything just is. You know, let's illustrate that with an illusion here. So we have the problem. There's a situation. Let's just call it that. There's a situation that's represented by the board. It might be a situation in the world right now. It might be in your personal life. From this point of view, it's definitely a problem. You don't appreciate it. And you look at it from the other side, same thing. It's a problem, right? And the more you focus on it, the more the problem grows. But the more you stop arguing, stop resisting, and start giving energy to what you do want, which is what we're going to go into next, something marvelous starts to happen. Solutions that you didn't see before are going to start popping into view. And all of a sudden, as you stop arguing, stop resisting, and start working for what you do want, all you will be able to see at that point are solutions. What a beautiful concept. Could we use that? Could we use it right here and right now? Absolutely. So you have people saying, well, I'm right, you're wrong. And what are they doing? They're letting their paradigm, the way they're conditioned to look at things, express itself. I know you can relate to that. I know I can. I can relate to it so very well. But if we can really firmly establish in our minds that everything just is, nothing is good or bad, it just is. Nothing is right or wrong. We could be right from two different perspectives. I could be right from my perspective, you could be right from yours. That is bringing the law of non-resistance into your life. That's a beautiful thing. So next, let's start finding ways. Actually, Raymond Hollywell said, nothing worthwhile and lasting is ever gained by argument. He who is convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. He who is convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. The more you try and make somebody else believe what you believe, the more they're going to believe what they believe. Don't we see that on full display right now in the world? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, all over the place. This is the right approach. This is the right way of doing things. Because. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, God. So the next step here, once we've realized that we stop resisting, we start focusing on what we do want, we start allowing that into our lives, which we want. Find ways to allow prosperity to flow easy to you. So Raymond Hollywell points out that, he said, how shall we work with prosperity? By being non-resistant and in agreement with all that is prosperous and using every means at our command to make it easy for prosperity to come in. How do we make it easy for prosperity to come in? Let's go back and look at the law of cause and effect. We take a step back here and look at one of the primary laws of the universe, cause and effect. Want more prosperity? Put out more good. Make it easy for prosperity to come to you. Big department stores, well, today some of them are closed, but there are still some that operate, and the ones that do it well, they always have their doors open. They always have the most expensive stuff downstairs because you just walk in and go down the escalator. You don't have to move. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go up the stairs. They invite you in. Are you inviting prosperity into your life by focusing on what you do want? Or do you run around unconsciously and resisting a lot of things that you don't want? The bank account says this, I don't want that. I want to get out of debt. That's the worst goal to have in the world. You're focusing on what you don't want. All right, so let's focus on what we do want. Move around the obstacle. Use water as an analogy. Allow prosperity to come into your life. The law of cause and effect is real. What you put out must come back. Must. By law. Maybe not right in the moment, but it definitely will come back to you. So what can you do to make it easy for prosperity to come into your life? What are some things you can apply right now? Everything might not look very great. business might be different than it's been, but there's opportunities sitting right in front of you that you're just not aware of, because you're not working with the law of non-resistance. You're actually resisting what is or what was. And because you're resisting that, you're getting more of it. It's a simple exercise, and yet so many people lose in life. So we can, and why? We can understand this. I can sit here and nod in agreement and say, yes, of course that's right. And then I go out and I violate the law again. The fifth step is love your enemies. And this is so good. You're going to like this because you can apply it. There's really 4 steps in this concept around loving your enemies, because we need to bring forgiveness into the picture as well. You may have to forgive something. You may have to forgive someone. You may have to forgive yourself. I know I had to on many occasions. I had a situation in my life some years ago now where we ended in some legal stuff. It wasn't beautiful, it really wasn't. And it just got worse and worse. We moved further and further apart in this argument. And the person I was dealing with, of course from my perspective, it was a little unreasonable. And that was just my worldview at the time. But I sent that person so much love over a given period of time, every day, so much love, so much forgiveness, so many beautiful thoughts. And in one of those sessions as part of my morning routine, the person writes an email at the same time and says, you know what, let's forget it. Let's settle this and let's move on. And I know that happened because I sent the energy out. So what are you sending out? Are you truly loving your enemies, or do you want to love your enemies? There's a big difference. It's a big difference here. The knowing and the doing are miles apart. So there's 4 steps to forgiveness. First, it sets you free. You know, before you can have a prisoner, you have to have a warden. It sets you free. And 2, it changes your perception and it raises your awareness to love's presence. And that's a mouthful. But when you can find true compassion for the person who did something back then, who said something, you find true compassion for them, you raise your level of awareness, you change your perception, you raise your level of awareness, and you see that love was there, love is there, love is in them too. You find it, you look for it, and you send more to them. What happens? It has actually nothing to do with them, it has everything to do with you. You set yourself free. And it's a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. Loving your enemies is absolutely a choice. It has to be a conscious choice first. And 4th, it's a process. It won't happen just by you thinking of it in a sporadic thought. It happens with you sitting down and consciously and deliberately doing that over and over and over again. And after a while, it will become a habit. And you will forgive easier, you'll move on quicker, and you'll become more like water, non-resistant. Abraham Lincoln, he said, "When I make my enemy my friend, have I not destroyed my enemy?" When I make my enemy my friend, have I not destroyed my enemy? 100%. So instead of competing, we should just send them all the love. We should embrace what they do, call them up and say, how can I help you do better in your business? Try it. It works. It's so good. So let's apply these concepts today. Let's start resisting less and working for that which we do want. Today, tomorrow, next week, whatever happens next week, I'm doing this video for you today so you can prime yourself to be less resistant. Whatever the outcome is, all right? Whatever side you think you're on. Whatever happened over the summer or in the spring, it is, nothing more. We make it what it is. You make it what it is. And you can create your own economy now, in this moment. You can create your own worldview right now. Doesn't matter what happens out there. You say, well, it matters. Yes, to the degree that you let it matter in your life. So this is important. Let me know in the comment section if this speaks to you and if you're working on applying it. Because I guarantee you, the moment you do, everything will start to shift. You will allow more prosperity, more ease, more joy, more health to come in to your life. All right? So apply the concept, subscribe, like this video, and I will see you in the next episode of Insights to Impossible. This is Anders Hansen, and thank you.
I really hope that you took a lot of valuable insight away from this video today. And to make sure you stay updated in terms of everything Real Magic World, including programs and live events, make sure that you enable your notifications and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so that you will be the first to know.